the college song. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. A very respectful and warm welcome to the first Srimati Kantaben Shah Memorial Lecture, a proud initiative of Maniben Nanavati Women's College. I'd like to begin by welcoming our resource person for today, Mr. Shishir Joshi, founder CEO of Project Mumbai. I'm also honored to welcome our trustees, Srimati Himatri Nanavati, Shri Chachan Nanavati, Shri Apurva Nanavati in his absence, we still welcome him, Honorary Secretary of the Managing Committee, Dr. Yogani Sheikh, Managing Committee Professor, Professor Puti Patel, our Principal, Dr. Rajshri Tripedi, College Development Council members, Srimati Nupur Mitra, President of Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan Trust, Srimati Neelam Mulchandani, Principal of Nanavati School, special invitees, faculty, administrative staff, and students college. Established in 1972, is one of the pioneers in imparting higher education to women in various streams such as arts, commerce, management studies, and fashion design at the UG and PG levels. The college is re-accredited with A grade and has been adjudged the best college by the affiliating body SNDT Women's University. A university that is more than a century old. The college has entered into its 50th glorious year. We are proud and privileged to cherish the legacy and values of our dear Khadi Mata, Srimati Maniben Nanavati, a freedom fighter who worked closely with Mahatma Gandhi. Srimati Kantaben Shah Research Centre for Multidisciplinary Studies was established through the philanthropic grace of Mrs. Angela Shah. We are also indebted to Mr. Chandrasen Merchant, Mr. Pratap Patel, and other donors for their support. The Centre intends to offer research opportunities to scholars of various disciplines. The Centre also aims to conduct the Srimati Kantaben Shah Memorial Lecture in memory of Srimati Kantaben Shah our visionary founder. The objective of this memorial lecture is to promote universal values of love, truth, right conduct, peace and non-violence. The memorial lecture was planned in 2020 and then the pandemic struck. Today, after a wait of 2 years, the auspicious day to conduct this memorial lecture offline is finally upon us. I now invite our dear Principal, Dr. Rajshri Trivedi, to introduce our speaker for the day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a proud privilege for me to introduce Mr. Shishir Joshi, who as soon as he entered the hall looked so unassuming and so down to earth, and he is in the true sense. Yes, as Dr. Cecilia Chettiar said, we are conducting this offline event. Our students have still not returned to campus, and if they have returned, they are returning in low numbers. Simultaneously, the exams are going on. We are very excited about this memorial lecture. At the same time, our college premises undergoing some kind of renovation. We have conducted this function in this hall, in the same campus, and it's a proud privilege for me to be a part and being instrumental in organizing this memorial lecture, which had been a long-awaited dream. Mr. Shishir Joshi. I don't know how much of justice I'll be able to do when it comes to introducing this great man, but I'll try my best. He is the founder and chief executive officer of the project, non-for-profit Project Mumbai, a social philanthropist. He has undertaken various projects in various areas such as healthcare, environment, governance, and mobility. Project Mumbai is a registered public trust that works for social transformation and social reach out. Here at Project Mumbai, people remain the purpose and positive change the intended objective. Among the only 50 organizations across the globe awarded by United Nations, Shishir-led Project Mumbai has bagged the most prestigious SDG Solidarity Action Award for 2020 for his outstanding contribution to the humanitarian work during the COVID-19 crisis. Some of the other awards conferred upon Shishir are I Volunteer Hero of the Year Award, Idobro Rice Citizen Award, and one outstanding remarkable feature of Project Mumbai I would like to mention here is it has bagged more than 15 awards for its outstanding contribution to the humanitarian work. Some of his other extraordinary projects are Khana Chahiye, which has reached out to more than 60 lakhs. I was reading a few days back, but today morning I was trying to do my homework and revise my data, and it has gone up to 75 lakh bills for the COVID hit and pandemic relief project of Mumbai. Salute to you, sir, for that. He has also provided data top line for school children in municipal schools in Mumbai, and more than 40,000 school children have been benefited for studying at home because of the data top plan. Once again, a very outstanding contribution in the field of education. The Mental Wellness Project for Adolescents, the Smiling Schools Project, impacting more than 3 lakhs of children in Mumbai, which is arguably the largest project in India. A big round of applause for this particular task. Accessible Mumbai. is also one of his very important areas of work, where he works for the disabled, providing wheelchairs. And I was just updating my understanding of the whole thing, and it came that Sir is a braille trained person who has reached out to visually impaired people in large numbers. So that's also something very interesting and unexplored area of work, I would say. An environmentalist, he has conducted the Mumbai Plastic Recyclathon, and he has entered into the Limca Book of Records for this achievement. Shishir has had a very impressive long 2-decade career as a journalist, and he has worked with organizations like Indian Express, CNN, NDTV, Midday, and many others, which I am not listing them here. He is currently a crisis communication and leadership trainer, and he has reached out to more than 100 leaders in top position across South Asia. Again, a very remarkable achievement. If someone asked you to summarize his biodata in 2 lines, my literary instinct, being a person of literature and today being Shakespeare's birthday, does not stop me from reciting 2 of his very popular lines. How far the little candle throws its light, so shine the good deeds in life. Another very important word from Shakespearean plays which I have come across is maverick. And I would end my introduction saying that Mr. Shishir Joshi is a social maverick. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing with us the incredible achievements of Mr. Shishir Joshi. I now invite Himatri ma'am to welcome Shishir sir with a small token of our respect and admiration. Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite Mr. Shishir Joshi, CEO Project Mumbai, to address this esteemed gathering. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I know we are not used to coming back to offline. कभी कभार ऑनलाइन और ऑफलाइन में कन्वर्ट कर जाता है. ऑफलाइन लगता है कि वो दूर है, लेकिन ये ऑफलाइन इज अ वेरी रियल वर्ल्ड. अच्छा लग रहा है फिजिकली आप लोगों के सामने. कितने लोगों को अच्छा लग रहा होगा मुझे पता नहीं, क्योंकि we are so used to working from home. That's a different word altogether. Thank you very much. I am truly overwhelmed, grateful to have been invited here, and in front of such an august gathering. CVs and profiles can be written on the desktop and shared. There is such immense work that the institution has done. We've heard about the work of Kantaben Shah, about this institution, and I'm privileged to have been invited to talk here. Esteemed trustees, the management, the principal of the college, the school, teachers. From what Ma'am Trivedi introduced me, it's very difficult to come and give a lecture, to be very honest. I'm more of a man of action. So what I'm wearing right now is also privileged because बहुत समय से पहना ही नहीं था. तो मैं सवेरे सोच रहा था कि मैं क्या पहनूँ, और मैंने कहा अगर ये भी मैं पूछने लगूँ कि is there a dress code, then that would be very embarrassing. So I said, let me just wear something which will not look very odd. Because just half an hour ago, I was wearing a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. And I was on the beach of Mumbai. And we have close to 5,000 people in 17 locations of Mumbai today, cleaning rivers, mangrove points, lakes, and the beaches of Mumbai. And these are all doing selfless work because they want to see this city a better place. There's an initiative called Jaldosh that Project Mumbai has started, and yesterday was Earth Day, and we felt using Earth Day as an occasion, can we get people involved? And linked to that is what is the occasion that I feel that I should talk about. मैं अभी कुछ देर पहले जो कॉलेज का गीत सुन रहा था, I hope you're okay, I speak a bit in Hindi and English also. So, जो गीत सुन रहा था उसमें आओ चले अपने आप में एक नई सोच भी ढूंढ लें. So I think it's important we start looking within ourselves, because one of the things that I've learned, one is perception and one is reality, and we all think that we are unidimensional. मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ या पढ़ा रही हूँ तो शायद मैं सिर्फ पढ़ा सकती हूँ. मैं अगर कुछ और नौकरी कर रहा हूँ तो शायद यही मेरी काबिलियत है. But this line tells us that we are so multidimensional in our life. There are so many different things that we can do, and it's only when we start doing it, then we realize the potential and the scale of what we can do, and that can change and impact lives. Somehow we also tend to forget, and we live in a very misguided notion that if I'm doing something good of course is relative. What could be good for me may not be good for others. So I need to think, one, that the good that I'm trying to do, is it a community good or is it a personal good? Very often we think of good for my own self. मेरी चार दीवारी के भीतर मैं जो कुछ कर रहा हूँ अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन उससे बाहर के लोगों पर कुछ असर हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. हम सवेरे जब कभी अगर सवेरे निकले हो तो when we see a shopkeeper cleaning the outside of his shop, what does he do? He cleans the shop outside and throws the dust to the next side. We are so used to it कि मेरी दुकान, मेरी चार दीवारी, मेरा बरामदा साफ होना चाहिए, बगल में क्या हो रहा है मुझे उसकी चिंता नहीं है. Now can we look at within us to say, can I look around us and start looking at how my action is impacting other people, and whether they are getting impacted in a positive way. Leave aside the notion and worry that is impact happening or not, and I will give you an example of how impact happens in a very positive way without us knowing. In 1930, there was a frail man who walked protesting against the salt tax. We are all aware of it. Did he start doing it hoping that there will be an impact? He did not do that. He had just about 70-80 people who walked with him. Some of them because, as one says, boss ने कहा है तो कुछ चलते हैं वैसे जाना चाहिए. तो आधे लोग boss ने कहा है इसलिए गांधी जी ने कहा है तो हम साथ में चलेंगे, गांधी जी का ख्याल रख रहे हैं. कुछ लोग ऐसे ही चले, कुछ काम नहीं था. That's how it happens in our day-to-day life. But gradually जैसे ही कारवां चलता गया, 21 अलग-अलग लोकेशन से the entire walkathon. Today we talk about different things, and I'm sure today if somebody would have heard about Gandhiji's Dandi March, we would have given a branding to that as well. But as he walked through 21 different locations, thousands of people joined him, and that became a movement. Did he really anticipate or plan it? Was there a communication strategy that he had? No, he did not. Did he feel and did he come with the intention that I need to create a movement? No. But his intention was goodness. His intention was positive change for people. But what lay within him was something which I believe is kindness. And that's something which I'd like to talk about. 2-3 specific instances which some of you may relate to. In fact, all of us may relate to. So sometimes when we look at a newspaper, we read a newspaper and we think about, let's say, assume this lecture was mentioned in a newspaper and I happen to read it. So somebody has written that piece to say, okay, Kantaben Shah Memorial Lecture taking place at this college. If anybody is interested, can attend. We often read some lectures and we go and attend. Somebody has written it, we read it, and in response to that, we go and attend. Do we call the person in the newspaper office to say, आपने लिखा था, इसलिए मैं गया? हम बताते नहीं. तो जो लिखने वाला है, the person who's written it, he would assume that there is no impact which has happened. But so many people have read it, and in an invisible manner, impact is happening. That's one part. So when you are, मैं ज्ञान नहीं दे रहा हूँ आज यहाँ पर, मैं सिर्फ एक एक्सपीरियंस बता रहा हूँ कि जो फल की चिंता मत करो जो कहते हैं ना, वो वाकई है. फल मिलेगा, कई तरह से मिलता है, कभी कभार हमें पता भी नहीं चलेगा कैसे मिलता है, लेकिन और न भी मिले तो भी कोई बात नहीं है. आप कर रहे हैं तो डू इट फॉर योरसेल्फ. दैट वे आई फील इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट टू बी सेल्फिश. People say, oh, you should not be selfish. I say, you should be selfish. It's almost like all of us, and here I've traveled by plane, and what does the air hostess tell us? पहले अपना सीट बेल्ट बांधिए, फिर अपने बगल के व्यक्ति का सीट बेल्ट बांधिए. तो आप जब तक अपना खुद का ख्याल नहीं रखेंगे तो आप बगल वालों का क्या ख्याल रखेंगे? So it's important to be selfish, and it's important to look after yourself, that unless you are healthy, and healthy is not just physical fitness, something which I've learned over the years, and through Project Mumbai we are trying to propagate, that fitness is about the mind as much, far bigger about the mind than the body. The country has started the Fit India movement, and I feel that far bigger than the Fit India movement is the need to have an emotionally fit India movement. We all need care on our emotional well-being. कभी कोई हमसे पूछता है आप कैसे हो? कोई पूछता नहीं. कभी कभार 2 मिनट वक्त लेके अपने साथी से पूछिए how are you feeling today, and wait for the answer, because we ask and without even waiting for the answer we move about and do other things. I'll share with you 2 different instances of movements, and then I'll come to also other points that I'd like to share with you. 2008, all of us remember when Bombay was attacked, Mumbai was attacked. 1 week after 2008, the attack, 26 November, it was a Wednesday, and on that day, thousands of people walked to the gateway of India. Not that these people who walked to the gateway, उनमें से किसी पर अटैक हुआ था. शायद होंगे कुछ इनके परिवार के व्यक्ति होंगे, there must be some people who were impacted directly, but 99% of the people went there because they wanted to express solidarity. Now, media, so I happened to be a journalist at that point, and a lot of people in the media felt that they were the ones who created a campaign. But it wasn't like that. People went because they wanted to. They felt something within them that they need to go there, and that's how movements happen. So, ideas are important to be shared. जब तक आइडिया मेरे दिमाग में होगी तब तक उस आइडिया की कोई कीमत नहीं. It's important to share the idea. Why? Then the value of the idea goes to the second person. That other person can add some more value to that idea, and then say maybe this is done this way, it will be nicer, and then that one person becomes 2, and the power of more than one is far more significant. We all realize that living in a city like Mumbai, we all say क्या होगा, सड़क खुदी है क्या होगा, पानी नहीं आ रहा है क्या होगा. हमने अभी तक किया ही क्या है कि हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि क्या होगा. हम कहते हैं, and being a journalist, and I come back to this old refrain when 10 people are sitting together and they all say मीडिया वाले क्या दिखाते हो आप टीवी पर? कोई बात नहीं, सही बात है, क्या दिखाते हैं वो तो है ही, लेकिन टीवी के नीचे एक स्क्रॉल आता है. If you find anything objectionable, please write to us. How many of us even take that effort to write to say that I did not like this program and can you please change it? Then you will counter argue to say मेरे अकेले से लिखने से क्या होगा. गांधी जी से जाके पूछिए उनके अकेले से जाने से क्या हुआ है. देश में बदलाव आया था. अब मैं कंपैरिजन नहीं कह रहा हूँ. I'm not expecting you all to be Gandhis, but I'm expecting you all to be yourself. I'm expecting yourself to look अपने आप में एक नई सोच ढूंढिए. एक पॉसिबिलिटी है और करने से बहुत कुछ फर्क पड़ता है. आप जब करते हैं ना ऐसे, मैं एक उदाहरण देता हूँ. It was shared that I became a journalist. How did I become a journalist? I didn't plan or study. In fact, I'm an extremely confused soul. So I studied to be a lawyer, and I did my law because my 10th standard marks were very, very low. सो 10th स्टैंडर्ड के मार्क्स इतने खराब थे, आप सोच भी नहीं सकते इतने खराब थे। अब वो खराब इसलिए थे क्योंकि my father had a transferable job, and that's the reason I scored poor. I moved from a school which had 5 students in the 10th standard, because it was in the remotest part of Rajasthan. And from there I moved to a school in Nagpur which had 75 per section. So just looking at the crowd, फिनलैंड से कोई जब इंडिया आता है ना, तो जो भीड़ देख के एकदम और आवाज सुन के कैसे वो पागल हो जाता है, वो मेरी हालत थी। और जब मैं 200 बच्चे एक क्लास में देख के मैं वही और आधे 10th में मैं जब आया था, तब मैंने देखा इतने सारे लोग हैं, कैसे पढ़ाया जाता है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे 5 लोगों को पढ़ाने में 3 टीचर बड़ी मुश्किल से पढ़ा देते हैं। यहाँ पे 200 लोगों को कैसे पढ़ाया जाएगा? एंड देयर इन माय 10th स्टैंडर्ड, middle of 10th that I was in Rajasthan, they had not completed the 9th portion, 9th standard portion. Okay, that's how we were. And here, by the time I reached in October of the 10th, this was the 3rd revision going on of the 10th. So can you imagine what would happen? So everybody was looking at the list after the 10th standard results. लोग ऊपर से मेरिट 99 से ढूंढते हैं, मैं नीचे से देख रहा था कि कहीं मेरा नंबर है तो नहीं. And I passed, and I was so thrilled. Then the family meeting happened, and they said, what should we do with him? And they said, science. So obviously, with the kind of marks I had, there was no choice. Then there was commerce. Then commerce meant studying a lot of maths. So I said, no. Then they said, arts. In our time, there were only 3 options. There was maths, science, and then of course there was medicine and engineering. There were these 2. Obviously, when science was out of the question, the medicine and engineering was like a dream. And so arts was the 3rd option, and I thought arts meant drawing and painting. So we didn't have career counselors then. You know, we just whatever parents told us we studied, and that's how I got into arts. So अंधों में काना राजा जो होता है ना, I was generally a bright student. I will have to believe me since you invited me. So I did well in my arts, and I chose to study law, and I did my law, the professional 5 years course. But halfway through my law, I also started working to be a journalist. The point I'm trying to make is that there was one person I met who was in my class, and he wrote a letter to the editor to say street lights in my area are not working. And the letter got published in a newspaper. Impact happens. And so there were 2 impacts which happened. The newspaper published that article. The municipal corporation came and repaired the light. The friend told me about it, and I saw the friend's name in the newspaper. I said, if his name come in the newspaper, why can't my name come in the newspaper? So I started looking out at all the problem areas in my area and started writing letters. So the activist in me started getting created. My name started coming out. And everybody in the area said, problem है तो इनके पास जाइए. तो problem आती थी, लिखता जाता था, नाम आता था, and that's how I became a journalist. So my confused soul of what happened in my 10th, I studied my law, but I didn't practice to be in the first year of law college when they say, what do you want to be? That time Ram Jethmalani was a very big lawyer. Today he could think differently. But I got up and said, I want to be a good lawyer like Ram Jethmalani. So my teacher said, okay, बैठ जाइए. So by the 3rd year, I realized that is not what I want to do. When I started going to the courtroom and looked at things, I said, no, this is not what I want to do. So I became a journalist. As I was ending my law course, some of my friends said, army is a fantastic option because there is a space for army law officers in the army. I said, let me try that out. So I got into the army also. So I didn't join the army because by then Arun Shourie was leading the Indian Express, and he was somebody I looked up to. And I got a call letter from the Indian Express, and it was a privilege to work with the Indian Express in those days. And I said, I'd like to work with the Indian Express. So again the family meeting happened. This time it was with much more respect, because 10th standard की जो family meeting थी उसमें I didn't have a voting right. यहाँ पे voting right which I had. So what should I do with him? I said, think about it. There's the army and Indian Express. Journalism की आज जितनी इज्जत है उतनी उस समय में थी. So they said, obviously you will join the army. So I said, no, I'd like to join the Indian Express. So with great amount of disappointment to my parents at some level, but they always trusted me with my judgment, and I joined the Indian Express, and then rest is history. The point I'm trying to make is, as a journalist, we believe that we are capable of creating change. That's not how it happens. Change happens. Change happens because people are interested. Change happens because people believe in themselves. And change happens when people see somebody else trying something out, and however small it may be, it does work. And I would want you to believe in that yourself, to say, even if it's working on one student or two students or three students, it works. Let me take it forward by another few years. There was a huge campaign called India Against Corruption, which now, of course, is our political party. How common and uncommon is the problem? Corruption hai, but so many people felt for it. Yeah, देश में बहुत तकलीफ है. And there was a Chalo Delhi kind of a आंदोलन which at that point Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal and all of them started off. Hundreds and thousands of people went to Delhi. Again, the media felt that we have created this entire campaign. No, we did not. It was the people who wanted it. People broke rules, traveled ticketless, but were going for a anti-corruption. So corruption is not only money corruption. Corruption is the state of mind also. So that is where it is, that at least start doing something, movements will happen. What I am hoping that you all become catalysts to that movement. We all undervalue the role of teachers, and we all know that. And every year we keep on Teachers Day, we respect, and we say this is the role that teachers have. But teachers do play such an important role. What is the role they play? Is the role of that catalyst. That catalyst is like the bhala, the long arrow that we see, and at the edge of the arrow is the sharpness of that arrow. What does that sharp portion do? It gives that arrow speed, it gives that arrow direction. You are the catalyst which can lead and give direction to so many different ideas. And how can you do that? We can do that by a few things which I have learned over the years. And these are things which are very, very important. And taking forward from what I heard in the college song, or taking forward from what I learned from that very specific Nati march, is that there is a need to start doing something for others. I think it's high time we looked within ourselves and said, God has blessed me with whatever I have. I'm not being philosophical here. Today, if I can afford to sit here wearing decent clothes, getting an assured meal twice a day, I think we are really privileged. The last 2 years has given me an opportunity to work in communities which have really gone through a bad time. Project Mumbai, ma'am mentioned about the data topper plan, but there's another project that we took up, was taking care of the educational costs of children who lost parents to COVID. You would be surprised that there are 20,000 children across Maharashtra only who have lost parents. And of those, 700 have lost both parents. That means 19,300, and this is a 3-month-old data, so the numbers would have gone up. When I say gone up, well, you all might say COVID is over, but the lasting impact of COVID, people are unwell, and these are data of people who died to COVID only. Okay, 19,300 people have lost either a mother or a father, and in most cases it is the father who's passed away. Okay, so for a moment, if you assume that 17,000 children have lost a father, now you might say, okay, it's just very easy for us to say, but what happens when a father passes away? It's the mother who takes care of the child. And in Indian homes, when a mother passes away, the father's family, extended family, comes forward and takes care of the child. Dada, dadi, chacha, वो सब बच्चों का ख्याल रखते हैं. But when a mother dies, when a father dies, the mother ends up going to her parents' home. That depends on how capable the parents also are in financially supporting. When a father dies, financially the mother has to start earning. When a mother dies, the father often is forced to marry again, and then some way the economy of the family and social fabric starts getting built again. But when the father dies, the entire system crashes. The child is pulled out of school. God forbid if it's a girl child. And of these 19,300, close to 17,000 children have lost a father. So many of them have discontinued their education. So many of them have relocated to homes or cities or towns or villages जहाँ कोई अता पता नहीं है. we have started tracing each and every such child, and we've committed to take care of their education of all these children. In the school, we are not giving money to the family. There is a certain system that can work, because our idea is, can we help the child continue with his or her education? Because multiple elements come in here. The moment the child's education continues, he can become hopefully economically stronger someday later. He becomes emotionally stronger because he is in the same school that he was earlier, so his friend circle becomes his economic bonding and strength. And that way, the parent, which is the mother, also feels assured that there is somebody to take care of. And we also try to create a kind of guardian angel teacher within the setup to take care of the child. The point I'm trying to make is there are tragedies and pains going on all around us. We need to look at ourselves to say we are so privileged. Can we now, henceforth, and I can look at the average age in this room is about 30 to 35 is the average age. So we've lived a fairly decent enough life. And we still have about 35, 40 years of life ahead for most of you all here. Can we spend 2 hours of the week trying to do something for others? And that is called volunteering. And that is what Gandhiji did. Today volunteering becomes a fairly brand kind of identity to say, okay, let us all volunteer. But Gandhiji started the act of volunteering, started the act of sharing his wealth. Sharing wealth is not about financial wealth. It's easiest to share financial wealth. Check काट के देने में कोई ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं लगता है. We might think about a big amount, need not be a big amount. You could just say 100 rupees. बहुत आसानी से जेब से हाथ निकल जाता है. किसी के लिए वक्त निकालना becomes so much more important. Can I start re-examining जो उस गीत का जो वो वाक्य है, अपने आप में जो नई सोच है जिसे ढूंढना है, re-examine yourself in multiple parts. Can I re-examine how much time do I have? How much time can I spare? Within that time, what can I do? And do not quantify it with wealth, financial wealth. That's a separate one. Quantify it with the wealth of time, quantify it with the wealth of skill, quantify it with the wealth of emotion, quantify it with the wealth of family, and say, can I pick out someone whom I could change lives with? We give 2 very simple examples. In COVID, we had started another initiative called, and immediately after COVID started, we started thinking slightly ahead. So our mental health program that came out, please remember, COVID might go, but the only lasting impact and the cascading one will be of emotional health. We all would have terrible memories. We all have lost somebody either in our inner circle or in a second level of circle whom we know, and they've been through a lot. Either people have lost somebody and they've not been able to attend funerals and so on and so forth. But in COVID, I also realized, while there were children who were orphaned, there were also parents who were orphaned. And when I'm saying parents who are orphaned, it's not about parents who lost children. Parents who have children who are not with them. Increasingly, you've seen, and COVID made us realize that children live in one town and parents live in another town. Children live in one country and parents live in another country. Can we start re-looking and re-examining that part of volunteerism? And which is what we started off. We created a buddy system. We started teenagers as champions. And we said, can you identify one senior citizen in your area and make a call to him to say, aap kaise ho? When COVID happened, the first big worry was, how will senior citizens cope? If some of you remember 2020, March, April and May, the virus was so devastating that हमने अखबार बंद कर दिए थे, दूध के पैकेट को 10 बार धोते थे, सब्जियां धो के धूप में 3-3 दिन रखते थे, क्या क्या नहीं किया है। लेकिन उन बुजुर्गों पर क्या गुजरी जो घर पे अकेले रहते थे। उनके यहाँ बाई ने आना बंद कर दिया था, उनके यहाँ खाना खाने की दिक्कत थी, लोग फोन नहीं करते थे, लोगों ने दरवाजे बंद कर दिए थे। ऐसी परिस्थिति में when we started sending grocery kits because they were told not to step out, आप बाहर आओगे वायरस से कुछ हो सकता है। वहाँ से विदेश से वो एक पुराना पंकज उदास का शायद गाना चिट्ठी आई है, आप बहुत से लोगों ने सुना होगा। तो उस चिट्ठी के लिए, उस कॉल के लिए जो तरसते हैं लोग, ऐसे में we started organizing grocery kits. And the reason I'm sharing this incident with you all is that first it was grocery kits, then they said please don't send us groceries because we don't have anybody to cook. We are too old, our maids come and cook, now maids have stopped coming, please give us cooked meals. So we started giving them cooked meals, and who was doing it? These were volunteers, people like you and me. अपने अपने घर में people were, because most daba system was shut down. They cooked meals and sent it to other families. After that, these senior citizens said, खाना भी छोड़ दीजिए, आप बस आके हमसे बात कीजिए. That is the state of loneliness that we are going through at this point. Can we look around us and spend some extra time with friends, with seniors, with people, examine them? It's a very nice gesture that you've done. I saw two of your colleagues hugging each other at this point. Yes, because suddenly you realize that, have I done that with somebody else? You know, have I just met a friend of mine and said, how are you? Tell me. कुछ तुम सुनाओ, कुछ हम सुनाएं. कभी होता ही नहीं. And that is one of the things I request you all. Sorry. Volunteer your time for others. Spend some little extra time. Ask them, ask the seniors. All you need to do is to look around, make a list of all the seniors who are in your area, and make a call to them. The first thing they'll say is, हमें कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. Please remember they have a lot of self-respect. But please offer वो जो phone call आता है, कीजिए. The 4 or 5 things that I've learned in the last 2 years or 3 years, and I'll share with you all. One of them is that in the space of kindness, अपने आप में जो आप नई चीज देख रहे हो, ढूंढिए कि there is also something called a kindness bone inside you. We all are kind. There is nobody who's a bad person. Everybody has a kindness bone in them. वो जो मुन्ना भाई में था ना, 350 हड्डियाँ होती हैं, कोई एक डायलॉग था, उसमें से एक हड्डी आपकी काइंडनेस की हड्डी होती है. ओके, और वो टूटेगी नहीं. कुछ भी हो जाए वो टूटेगी नहीं. आप मुंबई में और दिल्ली में या पूना में अलग अलग शहरों में जाओगे ना, ये आपको दिस इज अ डॉक्टरी एडवाइस. आप दिल्ली में किसी को एड्रेस पूछिए और दिल्ली में वो एड्रेस पूछेंगे तो या तो आपको गाली देके, सॉरी कोई दिल्ली वाले हैं यहाँ पे, तो लेकिन वो आपको गाली देके कहेंगे कि मुझे पता नहीं, या आपकी तरफ ध्यान भी नहीं देंगे, या फिर सोचेंगे कि इस गाड़ी में आया है, उस गाड़ी के हिसाब से मैं बताऊँगा एड्रेस है. आप पूना में जाएंगे वो आपको कहेंगे अच्छा लेफ्ट जाइए, लेकिन दिखा रहा है राइट, है ना. ये पूना पहाड़ी में अगर पूना वाले भी होंगे यहाँ पे, लेकिन मुंबई में अगर आप किसी को एड्रेस पूछेंगे तो वो कहेंगे कहाँ जाना है, वो ढूंढेंगे, वो खुद होके 4 लोगों से पूछेंगे. देखिए कितने सर हिल रहे हैं, क्योंकि मुंबई में बड़ा पूछते हैं, रुक के पूछते ही हैं. जबकि घर दो घर ही दूर होगा, पूछेंगे अच्छा वो शर्मा जी कहाँ रहते हैं, मिस्टर देशपांडे कहाँ रहते हैं, वो कहेंगे अच्छा वो लेफ्ट वाला नहीं राइट वाला, एक मिनट नहीं वो वाले शर्मा नहीं है, वो देशपांडे नहीं. फिर कोई कहेगा मैं उसी तरफ जा रहा हूँ, मैं आपके साथ चल रहा हूँ, मैं दिखा देता हूँ. कोई फोन करके पूछेगा अपने बेटे को कि अच्छा वो कौन से देशपांडे हैं. They will invest in you. Why are they doing that? Because they are kind. Our effort is, can we represent that kindness back in some form to somebody? Kindness should be done even when nobody is watching you. That is the test of your kindness. कोई देख रहा है तो आज जैसे एक उदाहरण दे रहा हूँ मैं. When I saw 2 people cleaning the beach and I was watching them, I was admiring them that they were doing that, and then suddenly midway they kept the garbage heap there and said इधर आओ इधर हमारी तरफ फोटो खींचिए. कोई बुराई नहीं है उसमें, क्योंकि अगर आप काइंडनेस कर रहे हो 4 लोगों को बताइए नहीं, क्योंकि उससे वो लोग भी सीखेंगे. बट kindness needs to be shared so that more and more people should get that particular virus and spread it out. So that's one part I'd like to share. Second, I'd like to also tell you all is try to be better storytellers in our own lives. You know, we have so many stories of experience, but do we even narrate stories to others? And there are different ways of narrating stories, because all of you have a lot of experience within yourself. But what is the use of this experience if it is not shared? मैंने ये देखा, ये अच्छे व्यक्ति से मिला, इनसे बात हुई. But what if I learn to start sharing this with somebody else? They'll start. Thank you so much. What if I start sharing this kindness of story? And there are different kinds of storytelling. Okay, there are some storytellers जो हमारे बीच में होते हैं, and they start telling a story which is in such a sad manner कि अच्छा ऐसा था. मतलब हमें भी पता है कि जिसको मैं हिंदी में कहूँगा पकाऊ स्टोरी टेलर, है ना. और हम जानते हैं हमारे बीच में ऐसे भी होते हैं कि अरे यार वो मत अभी वो स्टोरी कहना शुरू करेंगे कि ब्रेक हो रहा है. बट देयर आर सम स्टोरी टेलर्स व्हेन दे नरेट द स्टोरी एंड वी से वाओ कल जो बताई गई स्टोरी फिर से बताइए, और हम उनकी बातें सुन के मंत्रमुग्ध हो जाते हैं। आपने वो अमिताभ बच्चन की कोई मूवी देखी होगी, शायद मिस्टर नटवरलाल की, जिसमें घने जंगलों से गुजरता हुआ कहीं जा रहा है। किस तरीके से उसने उसको कहानी सुनाई कि ऐसे लग रहा था तभी मेरे सामने आया एक शेर, जब अमिताभ बच्चन कहते हैं और वो शेर सामने आता है। तो कैन वी बी दो स्टोरी टेलर्स एंड कैन वी ऐड अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन सो दैट द पर्सन आई एम टॉकिंग टू goes back with a little bit of saying to say अच्छा लगा सुन के। I'm linking this with another part to say can we be a little less transactional in our day-to-day life? We all the time today reach out to people because we need them. Can we make a call and look at your phone diary? आजकल तो लिखित डायरी तो होती नहीं है, everybody has a phone diary. Can we scroll down our phone diary and look at one or two names I have not called for 1 year? And make a phone call to them, say, how are you? Trust me, they will suspect you. क्या हुआ है? क्यों फोन किया है? कुछ तो काम जरूर होगा। When they call up Mr. Nanavati, they will say, जरूर admission के लिए काम होगा। Pardon me, but this is what happens when somebody, we all are suspecting the intentions of other people, other people's goodness. कोई बात नहीं। You start that trend by getting people to say, मैंने किसी काम से फोन नहीं किया, ऐसे ही फोन किया था। वो 2 मिनट आपसे जरूर बात करेंगे। हमें आदत हो गई कि when we talk to people, somebody takes a call, हाँ बताइए क्या, ऐसे ही फोन किया था, और 2 मिनट बाद जो कहते हैं अच्छा वैसे काम ये था। हमें पता था कि भाई काम के लिए ही फोन किया है, लेकिन आप जब फोन कीजिएगा and tell him I have no work, I've just called to find out how you are, कैसे हो, घर पे सब कैसे हैं, 5 मिनट बात कीजिए। कॉल करने के बाद में ट्रस्ट मी, वो जब फोन रखेंगे जिसको फोन किया था वो 10 मिनट सोचेगा क्यों फोन किया था इसने, क्या काम है, उन्हें सोचने दीजिए। आपको जो खुशी मिलेगी कि आपने एक पुराने दोस्त को फोन किया था बिना किसी काम के, उससे आपको खुशी मिलेगी। एंड दैट हैप्पीनेस ऑफ योर्स इज गोइंग टू ओनली इंक्रीज योर लाइफ। ट्रस्ट मी, आफ्टर 1 month when you call up that person again to say listen, I called you last month, I called you again this time he will trust you. Because yes, and then he may possibly start calling somebody else also. Can we become non-transactional in our life? We become so transactional. आप क्या करते हो? मैं फलाने कंपनी का MD हूँ, तो हम 2 मिनट बातें करते हैं उनसे। आप क्या करते हो? मैं कुछ नहीं, नौकरी ढूंढ रहा हूँ, मुंह फेर लेते हैं या चाहिए अपने काम कर लेंगे। So can we become non-transactional? And linking that to the storytelling part, I'm saying, can we start engaging in conversation with people? We talk about Gandhian values. Gandhian values is not only about selflessness, it's about our being kind in our day-to-day life. We've forgotten these basic values of our life. Can we start having a conversation with people without any transaction, without throwing designation, without throwing any of these power plays? कि इतना हो, कभी कभार आप किसी गैदरिंग में जाते हैं, आप किसी नए व्यक्ति से मिलते हैं, बातचीत के बाद उसे बहुत अच्छा लगा उनसे बात करके, मुझे पता नहीं वो क्या करते हैं लेकिन अच्छा लगा। Can you be that अच्छा लगा person in somebody's life to say, I don't know what he does. He was not throwing his designation, he was not throwing his values there, but I liked talking to him. Can you start becoming that I liked talking to that person? How many of you, I'm sure all of you love to cook. I'm assuming that. How many of you cook? Many of you cook. पोहा तो बनाए हुआ आपने? I love to cook. So, and poha, the reason I've shared poha is like an Indian. कहीं पे भी जाइए, it's almost like Joshi as a surname. आप कहीं भी एक पत्थर फेंकिए, किसी जोशी को तो लगेगा ही। तो कश्मीर में जोशीज हैं, पंजाब में जोशीज हैं, मध्य प्रदेश में जोशी हैं, महाराष्ट्र में तो है ही, मैं खड़ा हूँ आपके सामने, गुजरात में जोशी हैं, तमिलनाडु में है, मदर टेरेसा की जो सक्सेसर थी सिस्टर निर्मला, शी वाज अ जोशी, नेपाल में जोशी है। तो द पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम अरुणाचल में है, उत्तरांचल में है, मुरली मनोहर जोशी थे। तो दैट वे पोहा है कि पोहा कहीं भी देश में पोहा जरूर मिलेगा आपको। एंड आई एम लिंकिंग पोहा टू स्टोरी टेलिंग, एंड द रीजन आई एम शेयरिंग इट इज प्लीज स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग द स्टोरी टेलिंग हैबिट विद इन यू ऑल सो दैट पीपल स्टार्ट टू लर्न समथिंग। दैट पोहा कैन बी मेड बाय जस्ट पोहा जिसे हम वॉश करते हैं और उसको जो आप कहते हैं भिगोते हैं, छोड़ते हैं, जो भी आप करेंगे, और उसमें थोड़ी हल्दी डाल के और थोड़ा नमक, बेसिक इंग्रेडिएंट्स के साथ पोहा बन जाता है। ब्रेकफास्ट किसी ने नहीं किया होगा तो शायद भूख लगी है अभी, लेकिन वो पोहा बन ही जाता है। करेक्ट? लेकिन उस पोहे को आप उसमें प्याज और आलू डालेंगे तो एक थोड़ी टेस्ट अलग आती है। पोहा लेकिन वही पोहा ही है। उसमें आप अगर कर्नाटक में जाते हैं तो उसमें दलिया डालते हैं, ग्रेटेड कोकोनट डालते हैं, फिर भी पोहा है। आप नागपुर और विदर्भ साइड में मध्य प्रदेश जाएंगे, उसमें सेव डालेंगे, उसमें मिर्ची पाउडर कुछ ज़्यादा होगी। आप राजस्थान की तरफ जाएंगे तो उसमें मूंगफली डालेंगे। तो the point I'm trying to make is not to make you hungry right now, but it's a food for thought that poha is still a poha wherever you go. A story is still a story. It's how you tell the story is what it is. Can I start becoming a storyteller which has only facts? ये पोहा, इसको खिचड़ी नहीं कहते हैं, ये पोहा ही है जो कुछ आपने डाला है। तरीके होते हैं कहानी बताने के, आज कैसा रहा आपका दिन, मेरा दिन ठीक था, मैं यहाँ से वहाँ गया और कुछ नहीं हुआ। लेकिन अगर दूसरी का तरीके से वो कहानी को बता जाए, if I narrate the same story, making myself a little more animated, bring like what Amitabh Bachchan did in that movie. I'm not trying to say you need to become an Amitabh Bachchan here, but trying to be a little more animated, bringing some life into your story. The person who is receiving that story goes back with having received something, and then he will translate it in different forms, but retaining the facts. That's another modern day Gandhian value I'd like to share with you all. We've got so used to forwarding things without any value verification, and you forward it with such great confidence as if you are the one who is the author behind that story. And then other person says, and it's more particular, my aunt, my uncles who are now, some of them are in their 80s, and they send me stuff. I every day control myself in not arguing with them. So ये गलत है, ये इसमें कोई दम नहीं है, ये अनवेरीफाइड है। नहीं ये तो हमने देखा, ये तो मुझे किसी ने भेजा है। मैंने कहा किसने भेजा है, मुझे पता नहीं किसने भेजा है। तो the point is, can we become better storytellers which have your own stories and do that? The third I'd like to say is that can I start taking that little extra time for somebody whom I don't know in this entire space? Look for people whom I don't know, and can I start doing? The last 2 points I'd like to share is that can I be a little bit more interested and little bit more interesting in what I do? The problem is we are so busy talking about ourselves that we don't listen to the other person, or we are so busy listening to the other person we don't examine who we are as a person. I started off by talking about and re-referring to that line in that beautiful song to say that examine yourself. There are so many interesting things within yourself which can be utilized, which can be learned and shared, that you will be surprised at yourself when you start doing this. I used to teach, but I can also do that. I used to do this, but I can also do that, and you can excel in it. And can I start sharing that and inspiring somebody else with the same thing? And the last point I'd like to say, and linked to the conversation part, is when you're having conversations with people, try to have conversations with people with complete attention. Okay, this is the part of kindness that I would say. So, linked to this would be 3 things, and I would share 3 different things. That there is nobody who's जो उच्च और निम्न, ये कोई नहीं होता है. And this is something that I've learned from 2 very interesting people. I may not respect them for their value systems, but one is Mukesh Ambani, okay, and one is, and I'll share with you why I'm saying that. I happened to meet him for one activity, and at the end of the meeting, so compared to the wealth that he may have and the wealth that I may not have, okay, there's a huge difference. But yet, after the meeting, he took the time out and came out to the stairs, came to the lift to see me off. Now, why did he do that? Of all the bad things that people may say about him, this is one good thing that stayed with me. To say there is a respect that he's shown for anybody. I've had 3 other occasions to meet 3 other people in different corporate worlds, and they came out and saw me to the lift to say thank you. They waited till the lift comes in. Let's stop throwing attitude towards other people. It doesn't take more than 40 seconds to just be little extra kind. And when I say, you might say ये तो हमें पता है, लेकिन हम नहीं करते हैं, trust me. कोई अगर आपके लिए दरवाजा खोलता है, especially जब बैंक्स में या किसी दफ्तर में, हम अंदर ऐसे जाते हैं जैसे हम वाकई we are born to be somebody opening the door for us. And हम ऐसे उनकी तरफ देखते भी नहीं. Can I just say thank you to that person? Okay, can I also know that other than the boss of the organization, there's also somebody called a peon. Be kind to the peon. Trust me, so many more things can happen in your business and opportunity when you're nicer to the peon. Okay, you're just nicer to the boss. Peon वही रहेगा उसी office में, boss बदलते रहते हैं. So be a little more kind. And the last part I'd like to say is try to invest in research and practice in whatever you do. जब तक प्रैक्टिस नहीं करेंगे और रिसर्च नहीं करेंगे तब तक आगे बात कहीं नहीं जाएगी. I will give you two examples. The research part and practice part. That how many of you have done any reading about me? How much time do I have? I just take 5 minutes. Sorry. I was talking about research. How many of you did any reading about me before I came here? Other than such wonderful words, yes ma'am. My maths is very bad, but 2 out of 40 is not really good maths right now. So the point I'm trying to make is that we are investing in 1 hour of our time listening to somebody. 1 hour is 60 minutes, and so many things we can achieve in 60 minutes. Don't you think that maybe a little bit of research will always help, and we get to know so much more, and lives can change if we can do that. I'm sure some of you will say, हमेशा जनरली हम research करते हैं, but हमेशा करते हैं तो आज नहीं. Henceforth, make that little bit of research before you meet somebody else. And these are all linked to the values that we are talking about, which could make our city, our community, our people a better place to live. And the last I would say is the element of practice. Okay, there is nothing, no substitute. And as teachers, I'm sure you've told your students all the time, please practice, please practice, please practice. चपातियाँ तो बनाई हुई है ना? अब पोहे पे चपाती पे आता हूँ कि चपाती कैसे बनती है. वो जो गोलाकार जो आता है चपाती का, वो एक दिन में तो आता नहीं है ना? वो प्रैक्टिस से ही आता है. And that's when try the first day when you made India, then you made Nagaland, then you made Himachal, बने ही है अपने जब चपाती बनाई. But through that practice and that research is how you succeed. I once was talking to Sachin Tendulkar and I said, and we are also great gyanis, all of us. When we watch cricket and we have such great opinion about how things should change. We watch cricket in slow motion, all of us, and in slow motion we see the ball coming in and Sachin hitting the ball and we say, अरे यहाँ क्यों मारा? ऐसे मारता तो ज़्यादा अच्छा. ठीक है? But वो ball जब आप real time में देखोगे, it takes a second and a half for the ball to come in. Before you blink, the ball has gone past. Okay, if somebody has really played fast ball cricket, don't try it out. Okay, मतलब खतरों के खिलाड़ी से भी खतरनाक होता है. I asked Sachin Tendulkar, how can you so comfortably in that 1 second move to the left and hit a six or move to the right in the next ball? How do you manage to do that? So he said, I don't get that 1 second. I watch the bowler even when they have decided who the bowler is. So the moment they say, okay, this is Shoaib Akhtar who's going to bowl the ball, I say, okay, this is Shoaib's technique. And the moment he takes the ball and starts walking to the run-up, that's 9 or 10 seconds that he gets. When he turns around, he's running. I've studied him and studied him and studied him. And I get those 20-25 seconds on the field, and before that also I watch his performances, watch how he holds the ball. When he holds it this way, this is what he's doing, and I observe him. What does it show is that he practices and researches. When they show a Sachin Tendulkar before he's going out to bat, what they do is they show you Sachin Tendulkar wearing his pads, gloves, and he's just doing some air batting. What is he doing? He's practicing. So if a Sachin Tendulkar at this stage, when he's considered God in cricket, still can practice, I think we still have a long way to go. We still need to practice what we do. I'll try to sum up by sharing something that is important that we take the time out for other people. During COVID, there were hundreds of people who reached out to us. One of the strongest foundations of Project Mumbai is our large citizen army. Okay, selflessly, when we started helping out people, every 2 minutes I would get an email to say, I live in Chembur, I have a bike, I'm willing to help. I live in Goregaon, I have a car, I'm willing to help. And that's how people stepped out because they felt that the city needs help. We are happy to help in crisis times, and Mumbai has risen to so many occasions. Mumbai is a crisis city, and in every crisis we've seen people helping out. Can we become peacetime helpers as well? When people don't need help, when nobody is not watching, also can we be a little kind? I ended by a little example that I give you. During the peak of COVID, when nobody was willing to step out, there was one man, about a 30-year-old, lived in Kantaben, and he said, I need medicines for chemotherapy very urgently. All the shops are shut. We put this on our volunteer group. There was the medicine was only available in Dadar. And there was this lady who was a volunteer. 95% of these people I've never met in my life. But they are so closely attached to us and me. She said, I'm willing to step out from Mahim where I live, those who understand Bombay, and I can travel to Dadar in my car and I will pick up the medicine. Did she say I need reimbursement? No, she did not. She went to Dadar, picked up the medicine. Now the person lived in Kantaben. There was another volunteer who did not know this lady, who did not know any of us. He said, I live in Khar. Can you come up to Bandra? I will come up to Khar, to Bandra from Khar. I will pick up the medicine from you. He picked up the medicine from there. He went up to Andheri where the third volunteer said, I'll pick it up from here from you. He took the medicine from this lady, from this second boy, bought a few fruits because he realized that this person is alone at home, needed chemo medicine. Maybe fruits will also help. And took some fruits, took the medicine and delivered it to this person. And there are these stories all the time that happen. Can each one of us become part of those stories? Can I see that change in myself? Can I अपने आप के अंदर की जो सोच है, क्या मैं अपने आप को एक नई तरह से देख सकूं? ये आप देखिए, शायद एक बहुत खुशी आपको मिलेगी. मैं यही कहना चाहता हूँ. I'm really grateful for having invited me, and I hope that we all say जो एक सिर्फ जो मैं जिस चीज से अग्री नहीं करता हूँ उस गाने में कि उसमें था दुनिया को बदलने की कोशिश है. मैं कहता हूँ दुनिया को बदलने की कोशिश मत. Just be the custodian of the 100 meters where you live. That's all you need to do. 100 meters where you live or 100 meters where you work. उतने दायरे को भी आप custodian बन जाएंगे. That's a lot of work that you can do. Change will happen. But बचा हुआ जो next 100 meters है वो उधर रहने वाला कर लेगा. और third 100 meters है वो वाला करेगा. आप पूरा ज़्यादा करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Just look at the 100 meters where you live, work and play. उतने change से, if there's one person, there'll be two people who will be happy. One is you, and second definitely is Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. You have touched our hearts and opened our minds to the power of kindness. I hope we can all knock on our kindness bones after this. And with so much food for thought, I would like to now invite Dr. Anuja Deshpande to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Anuja Deshpande, on behalf of Srimati Kantaben Shah Research Centre for Multidisciplinary Studies, an initiative of Maniben Nanavati Women's College, feel privileged to propose a formal vote of thanks. Firstly, I would thank our resource person, Mr. Shishir Joshi, for sparing his valuable time and presiding over this function for your short but enlightening address that you gave us now. Secondly, I take this opportunity to thank our chairperson, Srimati Himadri Nanavati, our trustees, Shri Sachinbhai Nanavati, Shri Apurabhai Nanavati, Dr. Yogini Sheikh, our Honorary Secretary, Managing Committee, and Professor Dr. Vibhuti Patel for their continuous support throughout this journey. I also extend the heartiest gratitude to our philanthropist, Srimati Angela Shah, for her philanthropic grace by helping us to launch this center. We are grateful to Shri Pratapbhai Patel and Shri Chandrasen Merchant for their valuable support to KSRC. I thank all the special invitees, members of the Nanavati and the extended families. Thanking Mrs. Neelam Gulchandani, Principal CNVM Nanavati School, for making the venue available for us to host today's program. I thank our respected Principal Ma'am Dr. Rajshri Trivedi, Degree College Vice Principal Dr. Neeta Patil, and Junior College Vice Principal Dr. Kavita Sunde, faculty members of Degree and Junior College for their valuable support and cooperation. I thank Mrs. Kia Mukherjee and her administrative and support staff for the support of today's event. I also thank Members of Memorial Lecture Committee, Dr. Cecilia Chettiar, Dr. Swati Partani, Ms. Neha Bansali, Ms. Darshana Kulkarni, Ms. Chaitri Dave, Ms. Kinjal Patel, and Dr. Ravindra Katyan, and our student volunteers for being instrumental in organizing, executing, and making today's event success and memorable. I thank Mangesh Bhai and his team from CNP M. Nanavati School for helping us in organizing this event, thanking Samsung caterers for providing us with their food services. Now, I take this opportunity to invite you all for our second memorial lecture, which will be held on 6 December 2022. Looking forward to see you over there too. I thank everyone wholeheartedly once again for your presence for today's event. Now, I request everyone to please rise for national anthem.